Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now, Monday, March 27th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, on occupancy. Our special guest today joining us on the show. Everybody should know him well by now. He is always in the chat, usually, during our daily show, and he's been on our betcasts many times. I would say more often than not, he's on our betcasts for a little bit every Tuesday night. It's a great segue to mention this Tuesday's betcast. We're back with another one tomorrow night, March the 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And if you actually look at the card tomorrow night, it's a really good one in the NHL for Tuesday, March 28th. We've got Tampa Bay, Carolina, Nashville, Boston, with Nashville's playoff hopes slipping away from them after another loss yesterday. And now they've got the mighty Bruins to have to deal with tomorrow night. You've got Pittsburgh as they try to cement their playoff positioning, taking on Detroit. You've got LA, Calgary, pretty good 9 o'clock Eastern game. And we might even stay on late enough for the end of Edmonton, Vegas. It might be one of those later betcasts if that game is as good as we think it might be. But that Oilers Golden Knights game, hey, it was a good game Saturday between the two teams in Edmonton, and they're going at it once again tomorrow night in Vegas this time. So a great betcast, some pretty good games on the card, and we're excited about it. So join us tomorrow night, Tuesday, March 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern, live betting and commentary. Me, Alex B. Smith, many of our viewers and listeners joining us as guests, a bar and a pub atmosphere, as you know, with every betcast. That's what makes it fun. Drinking is encouraged. DM me at Bobano on Twitter or email bobano350@gmail.com, and we will send you a link to the betcast to join us tomorrow night. Before we get into tonight's card, occupancy, just some words from you since you're our guest here. How's the betting going? And some observations just quickly on the NHL, specifically over the weekend.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm listening to a lot of the storylines you guys are listening to. We're going into year 2. Now that I've been, an Ice Guys supporter and follower, it's great to be on the show. It's a good community. A couple people in the chat already. We got Goose, Jay Stone, Olafub, a lot of these people, we see Rich H, day in and day out doing this. So it's just good to, get together and people see things in different ways. And for hockey, running, last week was a good week. In March has been a pretty good month. I think this is the time of year where, we could see some opportunities from a betting perspective, with teams who clinch and different things. So I think this is the time of year to really double down and get into the numbers and everything. From a playoff perspective, the East, we got a race here. I mean, no one's really out yet. I mean, I think you cut the line maybe at Ottawa, but I still think, the chances are small, but Sens, Caps, Sabres, Panthers all have an opportunity to take one or two of those spots, depending on what happens. So I think, these games mean a lot in that conference, and same thing in the West, really. I think you cut the line at Nashville, but Preds and Flames on the outside looking in, I think they still have a really good chance, to take a spot. I don't necessarily see the Kraken falling out, but maybe that Winnipeg spot. But we'll see. And then, we'll break these games down, and we got a couple of these teams playing tonight. And, but other than that, yeah, it's just stoked to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. We're going to jump into the Monday card. I do have to admit, though, another draw cashes yesterday for me and for Alex, too, with Colorado and Arizona. It was one of those days, actually. That was the only draw I bet yesterday. Saturday, I was on a bunch of draws. Things didn't really go that well because the only one that hit was Edmonton, Vegas. Yesterday, there was really only one draw that I said, you know what, it's really got a good chance to go to, of course, Boston, Carolina would have cashed the draw too. I wasn't interested in that one, but if you bet it, congrats. But the only one I was interested in was Colorado, Arizona. And boy, it with 2-0 early in the third, it didn't look good. But Arizona ended up battling back, and they tied the game 3-3 eventually. It went to overtime, and there's another draw. Plus 400 is what you could have got with that price yesterday. Just a phenomenal bet there again, and we are accentuating this here on the show repeatedly now the last few weeks that the draw is worth a look when it makes sense. And look at how just a 1 plus 400 ticket can turn things around as far as your bankroll is concerned. But this card, actually 6 games, there are multiple bets that do pique my interest from a draw perspective. And I said last night when I first looked at the Monday card, I said, there is one obvious, glaring fucking obvious draw bet that I like on this Monday card. And I just let all of our viewers and listeners just, reply and throw it out there what they thought, which game I was referring to. And we will answer that question for you when we get to that game here on the Monday card. But yeah, it was obvious. It's like that. Yep. That's a draw. That's a draw bet right there. Right when I saw the matchup. So I will reveal that later on in the show. All right, let's get into it. We'll begin with Florida taking on Ottawa here for this Monday slate. We've got the Florida Panthers minus 150 road favorites, 7 the total in this game. I ain't laying a thing with Florida on the road. Not a chance that's happening going into this game against the Ottawa Senators. We've seen them with 2 big home games, 4 points on the table against the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Rangers. How many points did they get? How many? Zip, zilch, nada, jack shit in terms of points in those 2 games against the Leafs and the Rangers. This is a team that I question their ability to rise to the occasion, play pressure-filled hockey, and thrive under it. I've got real big questions with that, with this Florida team right now. Now we're going to lay minus 150 on the road. Now, Ottawa's got issues, all right? Defensively, they're having some struggles. There's no doubt. Goaltending is just, look, they're stuck with Mads Sogard because they have no Cam Talbot and no Anton Forsberg, and it's been that way for a long time. And it's, to make matters worse, too, I'm not convinced, some of their defensemen are fully healthy. And look, everybody's banged up at this time of year. I get that. Everybody's got injuries. Everybody's got problems. But you've already lost Jacob Chychrun to injury. I don't think Thomas Chabot's 100% the way I've seen him go around the ice here lately, the last couple games. I think he's hurting a little bit. So you're talking about 2 of your best defensemen. They're asking a whole lot of Jake Sanderson. And look, he's played his guts out for the Ottawa Senators, this guy. He's going to be a good defenseman. He already is a good defenseman for Ottawa, Jake Sanderson. But then when you're asking Artem Zub, to play 20 minutes a night, and you're asking, Brandstrom, and some of these other defensemen for the Ottawa Senators to really pick up the slack and play minutes they're not accustomed to, have tougher matchups to defend as far as the opposing team is concerned that they're not used to, it becomes a big problem, especially when the pressure's there. So, Artem Zub is good when you can play, 14, 15 minutes a night. Do we like him as a 20-minute defenseman? No, we don't. So that's the problem they're falling in right now. But I don't think Chabot, like I say, just from watching him, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a medical report. I'm not the trainer. I'm not the people that, know this shit regarding injuries at this time of year, but he doesn't look like he's 100%, honestly, Thomas Chabot, but he's gotten it out. He's doing the best he can. And Ottawa's gotten it out, trying to do the best they can. They are not playing, though, with the effort of a team that has quit, or a team that doesn't believe they can still make this one last push, get red hot, and sneak in. The effort's still there. Even the New Jersey loss Saturday night, that wasn't a loss like, oh, they mailed it in, they quit. No, they just made some bad breakdowns and blunders at bad times that cost them, and that ended up in the back of their net. So I like the effort level from this Ottawa team. I haven't bet them yet, but I'm close with Ottawa. Plus, it's just more so that I don't trust Florida here going on the road with what I've seen the last couple games. Sergei Bobrovsky confirmed in net for them. It isn't confirmed yet for Ottawa, but what else? What other choice do they have at this point but Mads Sogard again? They just got to grin and bear it and see if he can get the job done for this team. But Ottawa plus 130, and I'm going to look at a live over, but I'm going to wait till I get obviously 6.5 or better, hopefully in game. Hopefully we get those first few minutes of scoreless hockey to make the live over an opportunity that presents itself here tonight in this game. There are a lot of props I like in this game. It's going to be one of those games where I think it's a high volume of shots, both sides. So I think you can look at a lot of shots on goal props, and you got to start with Carter Verhaeghe for the Florida Panthers, because he's gone over 3.5 shots on goal in 7 straight games for the Florida Panthers. So, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But this is definitely someone that's been firing the puck at the net quite a bit, and his over shots on goal 3.5 is still only minus 140. It's a reasonable price. He's cleared 3.5 shots in 7 straight games for the Florida Panthers. So that's definitely a bet for me here in this one tonight. You've also got Tkachuk shooting the puck a lot. 3 straight games he's gone over 3.5 shots for the Florida Panthers. Batherson as well. Batherson's a good shot on goal prop. Only 2.5 and 3 straight. He's gone over his shots on goal prop for the Ottawa Senators. Some other looks here as far as the props are concerned. Assists for Barkov, 8 of the last 10. 7 of the last 10 with a point for Brandon Montour and an assist. Power play points, a market that I think is very exploitable considering, you get better prices. You get plus money, essentially, with pretty much everybody as far as power play points. And Montour's got 1 in 7 of the last 10. So that'll be a nice plus price on him to get a power play point prop tonight in this game. So a lot of good prop options and probably a high event game, at least from a shots on goal perspective, in my opinion. The saves prop with the 2 goalies tonight might be worth a look, but and definitely we should see goals. But again, waiting for that live over to show up at 6.5. Alex, what do you think here? Florida, Ottawa.
It's a huge game for both teams. Obviously, it'd be more so for Ottawa because they need all of the points and they're going to need a lot of help to try to get back in this race. I don't think that is the case with them. As far as Florida goes, like I said, they got to control their own destiny and some semblance of just win and beat the teams in front of you. And if they're going to be a team that hangs around till the very end, this is a game you have to win. You have to win it in regulation, but I don't really think that's going to be the case. This is one of the draw plays that makes a lot of sense because both teams need points. It's not going to make my official card. I only have 3 plays that I like as far as the draw goes, but this one was really close, just off of the sheer fact that I can't imagine we see these two teams risk taking any chances in the third period if this game is tied. So that might be the best spot to look for, be kind of a live draw or even something with no goal after if it's tied in the third period, that next to score you can find that no goal prop at a plus price. That'll probably be the way I sprinkle at this, but I don't want anything to do with the side because I can't trust Florida laying a price and I just really don't trust Ottawa to win must-win games right now, especially with Max Sogard in that. So it's a pass from a side perspective.
Yeah, Pat, I think the both teams to score in the first period, I'm going to jump on that a little bit too in this game. This definitely feels like a game where it's plausible for sure that both the Panthers and Senators can find the back of the net here in the first 20 minutes. Occupancy, what are you feeling here, Florida, Ottawa?
Yeah. Monday card, rotation 41-42. I was looking at Florida minus 135 it opened up at. And when I first saw that, I said, that's the bet. Risk it for 1 unit. This team, up and down the line, I think you can make an argument that the Panthers are the stronger team. But then you look a little more into it, and by the time I started looking into it, the price moved 20 cents. So I'm off that. But I go on covers, and they show the money line records. And you're back in Florida this year. You're 36-37, minus 12.7 units. Ottawa 35-38 on the money line. You're minus 5 units. So both teams, if you're backing them each game, you're not profitable. So that's why I'm probably not going to take a money line in this one. I do think that the line, the market moved, to minus 150, and I think that's probably about right. I got 2 guys remodeling, and they have those lines around that. Doesn't mean I'm going on it, but that's what I was looking at. And then I look into the props, and we look at props all the time, like a lot of people, and it's kind of the game where if you're an economy car driver, you're kind of asking to go up a class or 2 for the prices on some of these players here. I'm more, I'd like to kind of stick with my props, and minus 140 is usually my cutoff point. But one I found was Brandon Montour assist, and Ian, you mentioned it. In March, he's hit 7 of 11, and that's a minus 110. So I think that's a more reasonable price.
Yep. Good price.
So I already bet that quarter unit, keeping the props light on a Monday. At the same time, I am looking to get the Tkachuk brothers on my card. I looked back and checked out the matchup history with Calgary as well. When Matthew was over there, and they were both getting on the board. Again, but do I really want to be laying a minus 105 with Matt to score? Not really. That's not over the course of your betting career, it's not really going to do it. Brady, though, on the other hand, and if you like the Senators, which that's why I'm saying with the money line, I wasn't really convinced on either side. But if you like the Senators, you think he's going to be the one to do it. You can maybe make an argument for Stützle. I think that he's cooled down a little bit. And so ultimately, I probably will end up with the Tkachuks in some way and Montour. And that might be it. And then looking for the live over here. But really good. Yeah, I mean, this is a great game to start the week.
Yeah, and I mentioned something with the props, Ian, quickly with Matthew Tkachuk. He has scored a goal in the last 4 games against Ottawa. So, like I said, that brother thing at minus $1.05, that may not be juicy enough to play individually, but if you're looking for something to put in with the same game parlay, that might be you could parlay both the brothers to score and something else that you like potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely. And Chuck, you're right. Kachuk goal prop. I've mentioned that actually a couple of times. He's been even not just scoring against Ottawa, but scoring in general lately. He actually had a 6-game goal scoring streak snapped against the Rangers over the weekend. But, if you've been betting Kachuk to score, Matthew, I should say, this is the brothers facing off against each other. I wonder if Keith will be 3 sheets to the wind in the crowd again, like we saw in the playoffs last year. We'll have to wait and see on that. If he's in it, you would think so. I mean, especially with both of them playing in the same building, same game. But yeah, definitely the Tkachuk Bowl should be interesting here tonight with Brady and Matthew facing off. And it's so important, the 2 points for both of these teams. There's no question. We've talked about how Barkov's been shooting the puck a lot more. The overshots for Barkov still remains in play. He had 4 in the last game against the Rangers and 2 goals. So Barkov probably worth a look. We've talked about the Listerine man all season long. He's actually gone to 2 games in a row without a point. That being said, that's not going to remain indefinite as long as he stays on the top line. And he's still there with Barkov on the top line for the Florida Panthers and Duclair. So E2 Coolman, Lusterine, and still might be worth a prop look tonight for the Florida Panthers as well. All right, Montreal, Buffalo next up. Buffalo minus 180, home favorites. This is another 7 on the board, although this did open 6.5, and I did bet it overnight 6.5, and there's only bookmaker at 6.5 right now. A couple other books also still have 6.5, but it's not that many. It's 6.5 minus 145 at bookmaker / Chris, minus 150 at Proline Plus, an Ontario book, minus 152 at FanDuel. So the 6.5s are heavily juiced. So my advice now would be probably wait for a 6.5 and a better price with that if you're going to bet the over now in this game. And I'm always targeting overs with Montreal. Right now, it goes without saying. The best bet was as easy as it gets Saturday night with the Blue Jackets and the Canadiens going over 6.5. They are a team that can still score goals, Montreal, but we know they will struggle to give them up as well. And we will see if they give up a goal or 2 here to Buffalo in this game. Now, I know Buffalo played a very tight checking, which is a rarity for them. A lower scoring affair Saturday against the New York Islanders. And let's give Eric Comrie a lot of credit. Shutout victory for the Buffalo Sabres in that win over the New York Islanders. But are we going to get that same performance from him again? Or are we going to get that same team defensive performance again from the Buffalo Sabres, which is not something we have seen strung together, in 2, 3, 4 games in a row where we see Buffalo clamp down, at the defensive end. So I got to see them play well again in their own zone. A big absence for Buffalo tonight is Tage Thompson, day-to-day injury for him, so he will not play tonight for the Buffalo Sabres, and obviously anytime he's out, he's missed. So there's going to be some shakeups from Don Granato with the lineup, because obviously you take out someone on your top line, and it looks like as of right now, Casey Middlestat appears to be moving all the way up to the center spot, centering that number 1 line for the Sabres tonight between Tuck and Skinner for the Buffalo Sabres. So I definitely think Casey Middlestat props definitely are, considerations for sure. To get an assist is plus 180, to get a goal plus 400, just to get a point is plus 105. I mean, he's playing with Tuck and Skinner, top line, going to move up to that top line group. So I think that definitely makes the props very value laden now for Casey Middlestat here tonight for the Sabres in this game. Goes without saying, the line that's really starting to click, JJ Paterka with Dylan Cousins and Jack Quinn for the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, you look at that trio really starting to develop some nice chemistry. I've said all along, I think Dylan Cousins is going to be future captain material for this team. He has 2 goals and 4 points in the last 3 games. Jack Quinn enters this game with 3 points in the last 3 games as well. So you put Cousins in props, Quinn props tonight on your card. I would say yes to that in both elements. And then in a game where I think we'll see some goals, there's definitely some Montreal props that stand out because, look, we just saw them put up an 8 spot on Columbus the other night. Nick Suzuki's on a 4-game point streak and assist streak. Kirby Dach somehow didn't get on the scoreboard with 8 goals against Columbus the other night, but I'd still say he's a threat right now for Montreal. No question about that. And how about Mike Matheson? All right. We've talked about Mike Matheson before here for Montreal. Defenseman who has suddenly, started shooting the puck a whole lot more in recent weeks. And his shots on goal are probably worth a look. And B, his point production has been magnificent for the Canadiens lately. And he's still only minus 135 to get a point tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. So the Mike Matheson point prop, worth a look too. He did find the back of the net as well for the Canadiens on the weekend against Columbus. So, and he's playing number 1 power play unit too for the Habs at the moment. So keep that in mind. But no, there's no question about it. He has been rolling as far as the point props are concerned. Just in the last 3 games, he has 5 points, and he has gotten at least 1 point now for the Canadiens in 6 of the last 7 games. So Mike Matheson point prop sure sounds like a good look tonight for Montreal as well in this game. So I'm off the side. I mean, Buffalo had a weekend that gives them at least a little bit more hope that they can make a late season surge and sneak in, but they've got to win out. They got to come damn close to winning out, and there's not a lot of margin for error, but at least the 2 victories they had against the Devils and the Islanders over the weekend give them a puncher's chance to say, hey, this is still another game that matters, at least for us tonight. So Buffalo can win, should win, but I'm not laying $1.80, and I don't love the regulation price enough. And Buffalo's been flighty enough where I could actually see even Montreal coming in here and winning this hockey game. So it could go in a bunch of different ways. I'm just going to look for a live over at 6.5. Actually, I bet it overnight 6.5. But if you haven't bet it yet, look for a live over, and I'm going to look at those props I mentioned. What do you think here, Alex? Canadiens, Sabres.
I think this is going to be a back and forth game from start to finish. So the only thing I'm looking at here is that over in the first period. Even money at over 2. As everyone mentioned in the chat, Montreal 10 in a row, 14-3 the last 17, going over in the first period. Like I said, even with Buffalo missing Tage Thompson, they still have enough offensively to move things around and get things generated. And they need this game desperately. So I think we see a frantic pace. There's a reason why this is a 7. I would shy away from actually looking at over 7, honestly, if you can grab or get you won't be able to get a plus price, I think, with a 6.5. So if you like the over, you need to grab it now at 7 at plus money, or lay that $1.40 with a 6.5 if you feel comfortable with it. But I think we see goals right off the bat. I would also look at both teams to score in the first period as well.
Yeah, I think this is another both teams to score first period because, and keep in mind, if you're going to bet this, bet it at BetMGM. And it's not because I'm trying to promote BetMGM, but it's great for this bet. Yeah. First period, both teams to score. Because at Bet365, the Florida-Ottawa both teams to score first period is only plus 110. And it's only plus 120 for the Montreal-Buffalo game. It's plus 130 for both games, first period, both teams to score at BetMGM for Florida, Ottawa, and for this game. So that's where I'd be looking at it. And again, not a bad price. And I think very plausible here as well. We see a 1-1 score sometime in the first period here. What do you think occupancy with this one, Habs and Sabres?
Yeah, looking at full season stats, but a lot of people talk about trends, and I see, Mike M in the chat, shouting out a trend, real deal, Cuban Wayne Gretzky, Pobody's Nerfic, all these guys looking at this stuff. But one thing, is Montreal hasn't won more than 2 games in a row since late February. And you could say the same thing about Buffalo. They haven't won 3 or more since late February. So you're kind of, Buffalo doesn't get these long runs, or they haven't in the last 2 months. But Montreal, after a win, typically loses. When I saw this line open up, minus 195, and to me, I'm seeing a minus 175 at BetUS. To me, it's almost a situation where I'm ready to lay it for a unit. At the same time, Montreal on the money line over the course of the year, you're still up plus 7.5 units, and you're about up 6 units with Buffalo. So kind of both teams, if you just back them every day on the money line, you're profitable. Form, last 5 games, Montreal 2-3, Buffalo 2-3. But I think those wins are really different. Buffalo went in to a tough building on a weekend and gritted out a 2-0 win, with a former Islander getting the game-winning goal, Kyle Okposo from Labushkin late in the game. And then that Friday night game I was watching as well, and Buffalo came out really strong against New Jersey. So, it's a situation where, bankroll management is obviously really important. But let's just say, this is a situation where I don't see Montreal winning. I think Buffalo gets this game. Laying the juice is always a question, but that's the way I'm leaning for props. This is again, this either is a error or what, but they were laying a -140 for Jeff Skinner over 2.5 at BetUS. And I know everyone can't bet that stuff, and sometimes that's just an error, but I bet it right away when I saw it. Well, after I checked and everything, whatever. But I was seeing -280 for that line at 2.5. So anyway, that's on my card. I was also looking at Dahlin for an assist, but that's -140. That's a little juicy. But he has been the guy on the team there for assists at least. Just checking out any other props really that stand out. Not a whole lot here, but the over trend too on the 6.5. Buffalo's gone over 4 of the last 5, and Montreal's gone over 3 of the last 5. So maybe if we get a slow start, get the 5.5 or the 6.5. But I'm liking Buffalo tonight, straight up.
Liking Buffalo. Well, I tell you what, this is a game they got to get. If you're serious about making the playoffs, with all due respect to Montreal, you got to win this game. And I don't want to hear that Tage Thompson's out. I don't want to hear da-da-da-da-da. Got to get 2 points tonight if you're Buffalo, and we'll see if they can do that here tonight. Again, Eric Comrie will be in net. He's obviously, that makes sense after he should be rewarded for getting the shutout against the Islanders. Get another start. He will. Jake Allen in net for Montreal. And I think that's better for Buffalo that Jake Allen's in net. Jake Allen's been really struggling for the Montreal Canadiens lately. Montembeault too, but at least Montembeault's thrown a couple of decent efforts in there from time to time. That's not the case with Allen right now. He's really been floundering for Montreal. So that probably bodes well for Buffalo and their chances here tonight in this game. All right, next up, New Jersey Devils, New York Islanders. We've got the Devils -130 road favorites, 6 the total in this game. Very important game for the Islanders. They all are now, and the Islanders certainly aren't going to be thrilled with their 2-0 setback against Buffalo on Saturday. They didn't play that bad, but it wasn't their best game either. They got outshot 34-26. They just didn't seem to have a whole lot of energy in that game, to be quite honest with you. It was a pretty flat effort from the New York Islanders for a team that still hasn't guaranteed anything, doesn't have anything guaranteed for them. I know they're in a decent spot right now with where they are in the standings, but they still have work to do before they actually do punch their playoff ticket. They're definitely not home and cool yet. That's for damn sure. I mean, you look at the standings right now, they got 83 points. Pittsburgh at 82. They're 4 points up on Florida, 7 points up on Buffalo and Washington. So it's still very important for the Islanders to win these games. New Jersey, I think they're slipping out of it as far as catching Carolina. They're now trailing the Hurricanes by 3 points, and the Hurricanes still have 1 game in hand on the Devils in that race for top spot in the Metropolitan Division. Now, they also still want to fend off the Rangers, for home ice in the first round. I mean, they're 4 points ahead of the Rangers right now, and it's looking once again like those two teams are going to play each other in the first round, Devils and Rangers, with at the moment, Devils having home ice advantage for that first round series. So, yeah, Devils they clinched a playoff spot. Paying her life is right in the last game. It does feel like the Islanders do need the 2 points a little bit more than New Jersey. I think they do bring a better effort. In fact, I probably like what I'm seeing out of Sorokin lately. He's actually played pretty well. Didn't have a great game against Columbus Friday night. It was probably one of his games where you could say he could have been a little bit better. But, I do like the spot here for the Islanders. Shutout loss at home, playing a tri-state rival, I guess you could say, in the New Jersey Devils. So I'm going to do the old underdog special here, late season. Islanders +110 split with the draw in this game, because I do think it's going to be competitive. This is not the favorite draw. This is not the answer to the question yet, if you're wondering. But this is one of the draws that was, good enough to bet, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with a split here. New York Islanders +110, and also the draw at a pretty good price here with that plus 330 for the draw at Pinnacle. So Islanders draw split for yours truly. Alex, what do you think here? Devils Islanders.
Yeah, I'm on this draw for sure at plus 330. I got that this morning. And obviously, like I said, New Jersey still have a puncher's chance of trying to grab the Metro title, but more than likely kind of going to fall short of that. Islanders needing all the points they can get to stay afloat in that wild card race. They want to stay not only in the race, but also at the number one spot. This will be a good game. And it's interesting. The Islanders, 4 of the last 6 have gone over the total. We've been seeing some sneaky, overs with this team, even though Sorokin's been playing well, but, they give up the odd soft goal. And the same thing can be said with New Jersey, too. With, Vanacek, he's played well for most of the season, but he's given up a soft goal here or there, even in some good starts. I like the over here, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and grab first period and full game overs in game. I'm looking for plus money with 5.5 and 1.5 in game, but just for pregame purposes right now, I am on that draw at plus 330.
All right, draw plus 330 and looking for a live first period and full game over for Alex during the game at a better price right now. And it is 6.5 the total in this game in some books, but most books have 6 as far as the total here for the Devils and Islanders. At 6.5, I'm on the fence, but at 5.5, I'm definitely interested because you have seen more goals from both sides lately, including the Islanders. And the Islanders for the full season, I'm just going to bring up their full seat. Well, they're still an under 39 and 32 to the under, but that's not quite the huge discrepancy we saw last year from them as far as totals go. They're still playing more overs than they did last year. So in the Lane Lambert era this year, we've still seen, the Islanders have a little bit more, offensive minded capabilities in them this season. So that's definitely something to point out. And certainly lately we've seen them, trending toward the over just a little bit more. Occupancy, what do you think here, Devils Islanders?
Yeah, really important game here. I like what Alex said about the live over. I think both teams, 3 of their last 5 gone over 6.5. So if we can get the 5.5, I think that's going to help me out. I'm splitting up this particular game. Islanders are second in the league to the under 1.5 in the first. Shout out to PSU Auto, for putting out those charts, and he's got 42% on the year. Islanders to the under in the first, and that's about even money right now. So what we saw in Buffalo, no goals in the first, and I'm capping this game a lot. Like I capped the Toronto game. I was on the Islanders and the under in that game, and I split it. I lost on the under because the Islanders just blew up, and Samsonov was, trying to get to his personal matters and rushing the game maybe. But, this New Jersey team, you're still one of the most profitable teams. You got to give respect to them. You're up 9 units if you just bet them blindly every game. Islanders, you're down 3 units. So, still this Devils team is good. But, with what I saw on Friday night too, with Buffalo coming out strong, they had to switch up the goalies. You kind of throw a couple wrenches into their plans. And I just think the Islanders need this more. Series history too. The Islanders won the last matchup 6-4. Devils took the one before that 4-1. Islanders won before that 5-2. And Devils, they kind of, trade them a little bit here. I think Sorokin's in pretty good form. Ian said Friday night didn't look great. He led in 5, but up before that, 2, 1, 3, 4, there's goals allowed. So he's still pretty tight. And, I think I'm looking at the Islanders full game and then the under 1.5 with looking to get the over 5.5, first period and the full game. Props, I saw today it's Parisi still on the first line. He didn't score last game. But what I might do is, Palmieri is playing against his old team here. And both them to score, they're both set at plus 240. So if you bet both and one cashes, you've made money. So that's maybe the way I'd play it. The other one I'm looking at, and I don't know, but Brock Nelson to get a point is minus 120, minus 125. He typically is the guy to go to for that. When things get rough, he's usually the one to be burying them. In that Toronto game, let's see, he got on the board. In those last 3 games, though, he hasn't gotten a point. He actually did not get on the board for Toronto. It was Columbus and Buffalo.
Brock Nelson was on this like 13, 14 game point streak earlier this season. It was like about a month ago, and he's been he's been more hit or miss lately. A lot of zeros are showing up on his stat sheet the last 8 games or so. Like he's basically been 2-0-0-0, 2-0. Like that's been the trend for him lately.
Yeah, I know. And again, if you think there are going to be goals scored in this game, I think he makes it somehow, but I think that's the way I'm looking. No knock on this Jersey team. I mean, they've really, I don't think anyone thought they were going to finish where they're finishing. I mean, we thought they were going to be good and maybe 6, 7, 8 seed. I don't know about a 2 seed in the division there. So, shout out to them, but I think the Islanders find a way. The pressure's on. Lane's in the media, they're, this is kind of, they have to fall down a little bit before they get back up. And I think we're going to see an Islanders win and hopefully a slow start.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a prop where I do have some props that I like. I like Hischier over shots trending that way. Hughes over shots trending that way as well. Consecutive game shots on goal streaks for both players. Horvat actually has gone over his shots on goal in 5 straight games for the New York Islanders. Now, he's not really doing a whole lot offensively, but he's shooting the puck a lot. There's no question. So over 2.5 shots for Horvat, 5 straight. It's hard to ignore that. Hischier is on a 6-game point streak right now, by the way, for the New Jersey Devils. So if you believe in riding the streaks, now it's -175, so it's pricey, but still 6 straight games with a point for Nico Hischier coming into tonight. Jesper Bratt is very reasonable, in my opinion, to get a point tonight. Actually, Hischier is on a 4-game assist streak. I believe the price with that is a little bit better. +125. Hischier to get an assist. So that's pretty good value.
Yeah.
For a 4-game assist streak on Hischier. And Jesper Bratt's been on fire lately, and he's only -135 to get a point. He's on a 4-game point streak for the Devils coming into this game. So Jesper Bratt's been very good. And then there's a bunch for the Islanders that makes sense to me. Noah Dobson, for the last 5 games, he's had a point, and it's plus money for him to get a point. Noah Dobson tonight. How about Hudson Fasching up to the top line, Minnesota kid? And he's actually made a nice little impact for the Islanders. So goal props and point props for Hudson Fasching playing on the top line tonight. That makes a little sense to me. I think that's a good value-laden bet as well. And then a couple more. You mentioned the former team angle for not only Kyle Palmieri, but also Zach Parise here for the New York, his original team, the New Jersey Devils. And he's actually scored in 4 of the last 5 games. What the hell's happening here? He's drinking from the fountain of youth all of a sudden, Zach Parise. So I wouldn't even I would not talk anyone out of sprinkling a couple of bucks on Zach Parise to score a goal tonight. Why not? 4 of the last 5. He's facing the Devils, one of his former teams. He's clearly got a little rhythm and flow to his game going right now. And I find that he's being more aggressive too. Like he's actually going to the net more often. He's not just hanging back and looking to shoot. He's looking to make it happen. And I think that's been a difference for Zach here in the last few games. So a good prop game overall.
Yeah, I just want to mention, too, a couple more first period trends that I mentioned them in the chat. But 4 of the last 5 meetings have gone over in the first period, and 5 and 3 to the first period over the last 8 road games for the New Jersey Devils.
Oh, so definitely some trends there that are worth mentioning. And you're right, not the same old Islanders. They've had some punch in them this year, especially of late. All right, we got 3 more games left on this Monday card. That's the first 3 games. 3 more games still to go. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. All of you watching on YouTube, and we shout out to our podcast listeners as well. Back with the remaining 3 games, the second half of the Monday NHL card, right after we hear from GramCo.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by GramCo. Whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, court, or the ice, GramCo is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, GramCo provides customers with consistent quality Delta-8 THC products ready for any occasion. GramCo currently offers numerous Delta-8 products, including vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. GramCo offers an enjoyable, legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you. GramCo is also available at many American retailers as well. You can get the best Delta-8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from GramCo. And if you visit www.thegramco.com. Use promo code IceGuys. You will get 20% off of every order, and any order that's on the site over $50 will be shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with GramCo and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, we are back, and we got 3 games left. And before we, of course, get to those, we want to mention we've still got a couple weeks, but it's very important to mention it. The Ice Guys a playoff box giveaway presented by GramCo. Get in on it. A couple of weeks, fill out the form. Yeah. The URL is in the YouTube video description below this show. So make sure you click that link, fill it out. You'll be in the contest. And, of course, the multiple winners will be announced Saturday, April the 8th, final Saturday of the regular season.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got 6 winners in total. 5 people will win a $10 gift card that you can use at thegramco.com. 1 lucky fan will win the playoff box, which is 30 green apple flavored, 25 milligram Delta 8 gummies, 2 pre-rolled Delta 8 pre-rolls with the CBG Keef, and a 2-gram disposable of my favorite flavor, mimosa. The $60 value, 1 person will win that grand prize. We will announce the winner on the April 8th episode. You have until midnight, April 7th, to fill out the form. We've had a ton of people already filling in. Unfortunately, this is a contest for United States residents only. There were some people who've signed in from Canada. We do appreciate you, of course, but we cannot ship this out outside of the United States and certain states. So all the contest rules will be there listed as well. Like I said, go to our Twitter page at @the_IceGuys. You can find the form pinned to that page, as well as inside of the description of anything you read on Patreon, or all the videos on the description for YouTube.
Okay. All right, so get involved with that Ice Guys playoff box contest presented by GramCo. All right, we've got 3 more games left. Seattle Kraken, Minnesota Wild, Minnesota -120. Slight home favorites here, 6 the total in this game. If this was the game you guessed as the obvious draw today, ding, 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 you're a winner. This is the one. This was clear as day to me. And this is the answer to that riddle that I posted on Twitter last night. The obvious draw game of the Monday card. It's this one. And I believe more people answered Kraken Wild than any other game on this board. And so congratulations to you if you guessed this game. It's clear as day draw, in my opinion. You've got a Seattle team that is playing tight, playing close games lately. They come into this game off a 7, I should say, with the exception being the last game, 7-2 against Nashville, which got away from Nashville in the 3rd period. But prior to that, the Seattle Kraken had gone to overtime or a shootout in 4 of their last 6 games. So keep that in mind. 4 of the last 6 Seattle games had gone past regulation before that 7-2 blowout win over Nashville on Saturday. And do I really have to go into great detail the way Minnesota's been playing their games lately? We've seen, and even the games that have not gone to overtime, they were this close to getting there. Look at the Chicago game. That was 1-1 with about a minute to go when Minnesota took the lead. So, again, draw bettors got robbed a little bit in that game. Before that, 5-4 in a shootout against Philadelphia, 2-1 in overtime against New Jersey, 5-3 against Washington. That was a 1-goal game before an empty netter put it away. They went to overtime with Arizona back on March 12th. Shootout with Calgary on March the 7th. And this month alone, they have gone to overtime 4 times in their last 10 games and 2 of the last 3. So, yeah, it goes without saying. Both of these teams looking for points. Seattle's just trying to solidify their wild card position. They're in the Pacific Division. Minnesota's in the Central Division. They're in 2 separate races. Nobody's going to care if the other team gets a point. It should be a pretty competitive, tight game. It's the way I see it. As far as goaltending goes, it's already been confirmed. 2 veterans going head-to-head, Philip Grubauer for Seattle, and it'll be Marc-Andre Fleury in net tonight for the Minnesota Wild. I expect a close game, competitive game, a 1-goal game, and a very, very high likelihood, in my opinion, we get beyond 60 minutes here tonight in Minnesota. So Kraken Wild, I don't really feel the side either way. Like Seattle is the lean for me, the Seattle draw split, but as of right now, this is one of those rare instances where I might just be on the draw because the underdog price on Seattle is just not good enough. At plus 100, only even money. So what I might do is Seattle in regulation in the draw to sweeten the pot a little bit. I mean, if I want to do the underdog draw split, I usually want plus 150 or better on the underdog. And with Seattle in regulation, at least I can get plus 166, plus 165, at Pinnacle for Seattle in regulation. So I might sprinkle a little on that. But the primary bet's the draw. And this is actually a bigger draw bet than the rest of them for me tonight, is this game here, Kraken and Wild. The draw, you can get it at Pinnacle at a great price, plus 328. So pretty good. Still pretty good price. Not as good as some, but considering the high probability I think we see overtime tonight, plus 328, still a good price here for the draw with the Seattle Kraken and the Minnesota Wild. Alex, Seattle, Minnesota.
Yeah, I grabbed plus 225 this morning with the draw. He said it was, this is obvious. This is one of actually two really obvious draw plays for me, honestly. The other one's coming up a little bit later. But like I said, Seattle and Minnesota need points. They aren't in each other's way. And I think we're going to see goals back and forth. I know with Minnesota, we've been seeing this over trend, but that's with the 5.5. Now we're back up to a 6. But Seattle, we saw the explosion of goals against Nashville the other day. I think they get that offense rolling and back in a big way here. I think we see goals back and forth. So I have the draw, plus 325. I went over 6 at even money, and I would take maybe sprinkle a little bit on that, the score at 3-3. So do exact score 3-3 in regulation. Should be around plus 950. I'll play a little bit of that as well.
That could get there. Seattle's actually started to open things up a little bit again offensively. In their last few games, we've seen them score 4 against Edmonton, 5 against Dallas, 7 in the outburst against Nashville. Minnesota, after a huge under streak, all of a sudden their last 9 games, 7-2 to the over for Minnesota in their last 9 games.
And Seattle's that kind of team that will draw the offense out of Minnesota. They won't play into that slower style. They'll kind of battle the pace, and I think they'll kind of get some more offensive pushback.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't object to the overlook here. What do you think here, occupancy, Seattle, Minnesota?
Yeah, stepping away a little bit from, looking at the numbers. I mean, I think the days are over, at least for now, of, Minnesota in the spring battling for a wild card spot, TNT games with Vegas, Talbot, kind of the whole like Minnesota in spring kind of narrative that they were going hard and you back them, when they need it most, I think is over. And I don't think we're going to see that this year. Their leading goal scorers done. They're pretty safe. I mean, look, they've done their work. I don't think they're in a spot to lose the wild card spot. Seattle, on the other hand, has teams breathing down their neck. I saw this line open up at a plus 120. So it's looking like we're getting a 20-cent move towards the Kraken. I like Seattle here. And I'm looking to lay a unit on the money line here with them. I can't talk anyone off the draw here. I mean, I think this game could be absolutely close. But in terms of a side, you can get a minus 135 for over 2.5 as well for Seattle. They've hit that in 3 of their last 4, 3 of their last 5. The thing with this game is Fleury to me. And you guys were talking on the show as well, love listening in, and there's going to be a competition here for the starting goalie. And Fleury in his last 5 games, 4, 3, 5, 2, and 2. So his last 3, he's let up at least 3 or more. And look, he's solid enough, when the team's going, and I think he could be in a back and forth game. I think he's still solid enough for that team to get wins. Grubauer, though, his last 3, 2, 3, 1, 4 or 5 before that. And I think one of them might've been in relief, but still, I mean, Grubauer, over the course of an NHL season, look, he's got a chip on his shoulder in a weird way. That guy, he was supposed to be the guy in Colorado. Okay. Yeah. And when they did, and they let him go, and he kind of had to find his spot, and he was battling injuries as well. And then now he's getting these big starts. And it's not a knock on Minnesota here. I keep saying that. Boldy, 2 of the last 3 games, he's had a goal. You could look that way if you like his props. 5, 7, 2 for shots for Boldy in his last 3. Zuccarello has been picking it up in his last 3 games, 4, 3, and then 0 shots on Saturday. But still, guy, looking for a lower number.
Shooting is just not producing. Yeah, he misses the face-off. Let's be honest, he really does. I mean,
absolutely.
Not that anyone wouldn't, but he does, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah. So, again, great game. I mean, look, you're a hockey fan, you're a hockey bettor. It's a great game to start your week. I mean, this should
Yes.
be really good action here with these two teams. On the other side, I've already bet, and I may add to this, but I bet Vince Dunn anytime point, and that was minus 125. But everyone watching the show already knows this, so it's probably pretty repetitive. But 11 out of 12 in the month of March, this guy was getting points left and right. Vince Dunn, and
I'll never say no to that. Nope.
yeah, I mean, and I could be wrong, but hockey history, he was on that Cup team with St. Louis, I believe,
Yep.
which
Yep.
is kind of an under the
2018.
radar thing. So he's been there. He's not like a new guy to back. He's been there. I lost with Eberle on Friday. I had a shot prop with him. I'm going to lay off him. McCann, you can never go wrong with. He's the team leader, I believe, there. And that's probably what I'm going to stick with. If I really want to play the other side, I'll take Boldy. But look, they're irking out wins. I mean, they could that game with the Devils could have absolutely gone either way. They lost to the Flyers in overtime. They lost to the Bruins and they beat the Caps. So I mean, Kraken on the other hand, they got one back against Dallas when they had lost the two before that in the that 2-game series with Dallas. And then they got one back in the last week. And then split with Nashville. So I think the Kraken team's in good form. I think the plus 100 is it's a good gambler's bet as well. Like we talk about handicapping and betting all the time and kind of the differences between looking for value and numbers. But this is a good bet. This is just a good bet. So that's what I'll be on. But yeah, let's see an overtime win, for us and make me sweat out a little more. And I'll split it and I'll tweet out everything, my occupancy on Twitter. And I'll tweet out my cards and everything, and kind of a recap of what we got here. But yeah, let's cash.
There you go. Like in
Nice.
Seattle here is occupancy. And someone in our chat saying that's not crazy. That's actually not crazy to do that with Ryan Reeves. I mean, he's actually been scoring, believe it or not,
Yep.
plus 950. I mean, put a couple pizza bucks on it. That's not the worst thing in the world to do that. And here's one. I'll throw one at you too in terms of real bargain bin. As far as the player props go, you mentioned Ryan Reeves right now for Minnesota, and like I said, plus 950 at some books for him to score. How about Daniel? That's Sprong. Daniel Sprong right now for the Seattle Kraken. 3 straight games with a goal for him. A guy that's only a depth forward, but all of a sudden he's on a consecutive game goal streak, plus 400 for him to find the back of the net for the Kraken tonight. So Daniel Sprong is a value-laden option too on his little 3-game goal scoring streak. But yeah, Ryan Reeves, all of a sudden, I didn't know he was turning into Brett Hull or Wayne Gretzky all of a sudden with the goal scoring. But Ryan Reeves has had that finish in his game here the last 3 or 4 games.
Well, and Dean Evanston made a great move to park him right in front of the net at times and let him create that chaos. A lot like the old Dustin Bufflin role back in the early 2010s, of course. Creating that screen, cleaning up the garbage in front and in the crease, and that's a smart role to utilize him in, honestly, because he has such a strong, sturdy base. You're not going to just knock him off. He's going to screen properly. And I agree with Seattle being the side to look at if you were taking a side in this game. But the thing with Minnesota in that Central Division is, make no mistake, nothing is settled in the Central. I mean, you got Minnesota at the top at 93, Dallas and Colorado tied at 92. Winnipeg's still right creeping there with 88 points, and they have 5 more regulation wins than the Minnesota Wild. So they still have something to play for. Everything's not just locked down just yet. So I do agree, Seattle's got more to be worried about coming up behind them, but nothing is set in stone right now for the Wild either.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing is set in stone at all. So interesting. They got to keep winning, both teams. Seattle. I mean, I know Seattle's in the first wild card right now, but you can't just rest on it. You got work to do. You still got to try to fend off Winnipeg, Calgary, and Nashville right behind you. So definitely still work to do. A good prop game. You mentioned Dunn point. Yes, McCann point for me, I think, is cheap here as well. And McCann over shots on goal. I can't believe over 2.5 minus 125 at a lot of books for Jared McCann over shots. He's been flying over that. He's had a lot of 4 or 5 shots on goal games lately for Seattle. So that's a very cheap price as far as his shots on goal prop tonight in this game. But yeah, not a bad prop game at all because, like I said, Sprong all of a sudden's on a goal streak. The Dunn point prop, McCann overshots on goal, McCann to get a point. Yeah, definitely some good prop options here. And like I say, Reeves and Sprong for, long shot flyer goal scorer props. Why not? 4 of the last 7 games with a goal for Ryan Reeves. Crazy. But that's what it's been here of late for him with Minnesota. All right, Colorado, Anaheim. We've got the Avalanche minus 280, road favorites, 6.5 being the total in this game. Colorado definitely saw yesterday, fell asleep a little with that 2-0 lead, especially coming out in the third period. Arizona took it to them. Colorado probably thought, hey, we're up 2-0 against Arizona. Game's over already. They won't come back. No, wrong. Arizona with that great pushback in the third to get that game to overtime. So, but Colorado survived. They won in a shootout 4-3. Now they're on a back-to-back. Anaheim does have a rest advantage. That might be the only advantage they have. They've lost 4 in a row, just 2-8 in their last 10 games. It's been obviously rough, tough sledding here for the Anaheim Ducks. They actually did beat Colorado, believe it or not, the last time these teams met in Denver, January 26th. It was 5-3 for Anaheim. And they were plus 340 underdogs in that game. Maybe for a I'm not as confident in it. Obviously, not close as the Colorado-Arizona game, but maybe just for a couple bucks on the very small bet on the draw potentially. But I don't feel as good about it as some of the others on this board. And if you're Colorado, look at the spot for them. Yesterday, they played John Gibson in net for Anaheim. I think this could be Jonas Johansson night for the Colorado Avalanche tonight in goal for them. It is. It's confirmed. Yeah,
so,
it's
yeah.
not.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it is. Yep, confirmed Jonas Johansson. And his numbers aren't terrible. One his only start, 2.88 goals against, 907 save percentage. But that is such a small sample size. The larger sample size paints a very different picture of Jonas Johansson, and that's someone with I believe, a career 3.3 goals against average and 891 save percentage in the NHL, which is not great at all. So you look at those numbers overall. And last year, full season between Colorado and Florida, 4.81 goals against, 852 save percentage. Again, he's been in 2 games this year for Colorado and only 1 as a starter. So that sample size of 1 game and 2.89 goals against, 907 save percentage, you obviously have to take that with a grain of salt. I mean, we're talking about 1 game as a starter this year. It was last year when his goals against was way above 4. So for that reason, I lean over here, 6.5. And certainly now with Johansson confirmed, I'm not only going to lean that way, I'm going to bet it as well, over 6.5 here, minus 125 in this game. What do you think here, Alex? Avalanche Ducks.
Yeah, I'm going on the over with this too, laying a dollar. I actually laid $1.20 earlier this morning, but now it's moved to $1.25 with Johansson and net. And the Avalanche, we've seen them play these games. They did it just yesterday. Team that you should be beating, be it home or road, division opponent. One of the worst teams in the league, and they have a lead, blow the lead. And just end up going to OT.
And then get the power play goal from Nichushkin, Big Val, 3-2, and they give the goal right back a minute or 2 later. Yep.
And that's the thing. And they hang around and play down to some of these bad teams, especially in conference. And Anaheim and Arizona, those are 2 teams you're supposed to put away, but they just make it hard on themselves for whatever reason. And this is a Ducks team that I think, it's playing out the string. They can see the light at the end of the tunnel and get ready for the end of the year. I think they're going to just probably play a lot of pond hockey, pun intended, being the Ducks. We're going to see some goals back and forth here. So I go over 6.5.
On hockey at the pond, how apropos. And probably we'll see that. It certainly was the other night when Anaheim played St. Louis on Saturday night. My goodness, there was no defense being played in that game. What do you think here, occupancy, Colorado, Anaheim?
Yeah, that was a pretty good Colorado game yesterday. Nichushkin and going 7th in the shootout and getting it done. I think also just as a hockey talk, some of these shootouts, like we're seeing a couple guys, maybe get a shot in who aren't in, the top 3, top 5, getting those top spots in the shootout here that they wouldn't go to. I saw that New Jersey was going to a couple different people and stuff like that. But look, I talk about betting and capping, and this is a game where I'm looking more at the handicap because when I tried to fade Colorado yesterday, I was on the Yotes team total plus 1.5, but I was getting plus money for all that. So I had a plus 1.5 at plus 105 yesterday for the Yotes, and the team total over 2.5 was also a plus money. Now, if you want that same kind of way, you're getting minus 130 for the team total for the Ducks and plus 1.5, minus 110. So I'm not really comfortable. I think the Yotes yesterday had the home trends in their favor here, jumping to try to fade the champs here. Johansson, I think he'll let in goals. I don't think he's perfect. But I was looking at the schedule, and they're stopping the Western road trip here, and then they're flying back east to play Minnesota on Wednesday. So they don't have to go through the gauntlet and go to LA after this, or go up to San Jose, or they're stopping here and going back. It's a tricky spot. I mean, ultimately, I'll probably end up laying off. I think Terry got hurt in the last game with St. Louis. I remember something with the third period. I took a shot with a third peried.
He's out. He won't play tonight. No.
Yeah. So that's one of their top players there. So ultimately, I probably end up passing on this game. Tried to fade the champs yesterday. I'm not looking to do it again.
Yeah. And he's been good. I mean, he's basically had a point for Anaheim in 7 of the last 8 games. So obviously will be missed. Frank the Tank for Toronto's back, though. He missed the last game for Anaheim. He'll be back tonight, though, in the lineup for them. It looks like Zegras, Strome. Ryan Strome actually might be undervalued, too, because he's started to chip in a little bit more lately. If you're looking at props, McTavish as well should be a guy that's got to look to step up here in the absence of Troy Terry. So, and again, facing Johansson, who the jury's still out on him. So there's opportunity for Anaheim to score offensively, get involved tonight. On the Colorado side, Compher, Big Val Nichushkin's up with Rantanen and McKinnon. They're good prop looks. Malkin, he's had lots of chances. He just hasn't had any finish lately, but he's still up there in the lineup, and the value's still there. Can he finally put a puck in the net? Because he's had trouble doing that the last couple games. That's the question. All right, final game. Speaking of a team that does not have issues putting the puck in the net, the Edmonton Oilers, minus 320, road favorites at Mullet Arena in the desert against Arizona, total 7. We're going to have Eddie Lack on the show around playoff time, and I know he's been to Mullet Arena a bunch of times, so I'm fascinated to hear his perspective on being there in the building for these Arizona home games. But, definitely when you look at it, they've, for whatever reason, whether it's the atmosphere, the environment, whether it's just some level of comfort, Arizona's been a tough team to beat here at home all season. And the home record's actually very respectable for Arizona. Their overall record on the season is 27-47. Okay, they've lost 47 games, 27 wins, and 20 of their 27 wins have been at home. They actually have a winning record at Mullet Arena, 20-15 at home this year, the Arizona Coyotes. That's remarkable, that for a team with the record that they have, actually has a winning record on home ice. And it speaks volumes about just how well they played here and how tough of an out they've been. Now they've lost 4 in a row, and the loss to Colorado at home on Sunday, 4-3, yesterday, I should say, in a shootout Sunday, snapped a 6-game win streak, 6-game home win streak for the Arizona Coyotes, but still very competitive. This is going to be another of those, I got to do it, Arizona in the draw split, just like yesterday for me. In this game against the Edmonton Oilers. With all due respect to Edmonton, they've won 5 of their last 6. They've had the win streak snapped by Vegas Saturday night, 4-3 in overtime. It's not going to be easy for them in Arizona. And then I see Jack Campbell starting, and that's the clincher for me that Arizona can compete in this game, that Arizona can hang in this game. No question. Jack Campbell continues to fight the puck, continues to fight and battle with his own confidence for the Edmonton Oilers. But, if you're Jay Woodcroft, you can't run Stuart Skinner right into the ground going into the playoffs. You got to give Campbell a start or two here or there. And this is obviously one of the spots you've got to put him in there against Arizona. So it is Jack Campbell tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Should be Vejmelka for Arizona after Connor Ingram started yesterday. So it should be Vejmelka at night, but Vejmelka's track record against Edmonton's been a little spotty. I think the over's certainly in play, but I'm going to once again wait for a 6.5 and an in-game live over. And I'm going to go right away pregame with both teams to score in the first period in this game. This is one I really like, the both teams to score first period at a plus price. I think definitely it can get there. The Coyotes team total is not a bad look, Perlo, because, we saw them yesterday, 3 goals against Colorado. And the team total for Arizona is 2.5 minus 122 to the over at Pinnacle. Only 2.5 minus 122. I mean, I think they can certainly get 3 goals against Jack Campbell and Arizona tonight. So the team total is probably going to be in pocket as well. The both teams to score in the first period. Look at a live over, and I'm definitely going to be looking at an Arizona money line draw split. Again, the Arizona money line in this game is as high as plus 276 at Pinnacle, and the draw for this game plus 430, plus 430 at Caesars. There's no way I'm passing up that price or those odds in what I think's got a great chance to go to overtime. They just played an overtime game in Edmonton last week. These same two teams. 4-3 in Edmonton. Edmonton's gone past regulation in 3 straight games. Arizona's gone past regulation 5 of their last 10 games. So, yeah, this is up there as far as the draw considerations tonight are concerned. Alex, I think you agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just it. They said 3 straight overs for Edmonton, 5 of the last 9 with Arizona. They said a couple of games ago they played in overtime. 4 of the last 10 meetings between these two teams have gone to overtime or a shootout. So, Arizona's been feisty at home, and they have shown this high level of compete at Mullet Arena like they haven't been able to do in any of the other arenas. And Edmonton, much like Colorado, same kind of a spot. They roll in, they're a team that, they should be able to score, 7 on their own and win this game easily, but they make things tough on themselves. They know they need points. I definitely see overtime in this one. So I got plus 430 earlier this morning.
There you go. Hell of a price on that. And by the way, I just see this stat now as I'm going through my notes here. 20-6 for Edmonton to the over in their last 26 road games. How about that? Road games, 20-6 to the over. So that is a strong track record. Higher scoring hockey for Edmonton on the road. What do you think here, occupancy? Last game, Oilers, Coyotes.
Yeah, I'm seeing Oilers opened up at a minus 330 favorite. Arizona opened up around plus 265, so I'm seeing the prices haven't moved too much here. I'm seeing the Oilers shouldn't be this big of a favorite if you're looking at the prices here, more like a minus 250, minus 200 type of thing. So from that perspective, I definitely would be on the Yotes here. You're laying extra juice in a regular season game. The thing with the Yotes we talked about with these home road splits in the last 5 games, Yotes are 1-4 on the money line. So I think you have the draw in the back pocket. It's a good way to approach this. The plus 1.5 too, or plus 100 in your back pocket, I think is also another way. If you do like the Yotes, you don't get the same bang for the buck if it does go to overtime. But then if they win in reg, you're kind of safe there. I had the game capped with Skinner. And then so it kind of changes a little bit on the fly. Now it's Campbell in. I checked his numbers 4-6-4, 6-4 for Campbell. His goals against in the last 5. So if there are going to be goals scored, how are they going to do with fly? It was an early game yesterday, so probably have enough time across the border. Hopefully, no passport issues and all that kind of shit. But one thing that stands out. Yeah, I know, right? But hopefully they can get through customs and just play hockey. But the props, I think. For the Yotes side. Also shout out to Kevin Beach on the Evander Kane under shots on Saturday. I had that, and you can get a minus 140 for Evander under 3.5 today. And 4 of the last 5 have gone under for Evander.
That was a
I'll
good
probably
call.
I'll make that on my card again, I believe. But looking for the overs for the props. Keller had 7 yesterday, 7 shots. Michelli had 3. Krause had 3. Schmaltz got an assist. Keller scored. Hayton, it's funny. Hayton, such an interesting guy. So I was listening to the game. I listened to Connor McGahey on, Altitude, radio network and for the Colorado side. And, I know Hayton's actually kind of a little bit of a bruiser down there. He gets a little physical. I kind of, you see him on the stat sheet and you kind of think he's just this flashy player with offensive talent and stuff like that. But Baron Hayton was throwing bows with Makar and stuff like that. So, interesting to kind of, when you watch a game, you hear the game, you kind of get these different perspectives. Ultimately for betting, I don't know. I look towards props. I mean, I might make, depending kind of how the front end of the card goes. If the front end of the card goes well, I have no problem coming in with an Arizona, but the units are important here, and I kind of got to pick my spots. But if the front card goes well, maybe I'll tweet out later Arizona type play. But I'm just looking, you could still get Barrett Hayton minus 125 for a point. The Schmaltz assist tonight, I'm seeing what do we got here? Plus 115, I think is a good.
That's a good price.
Look.
Yep.
Yeah, for the Schmaltz assist, and then your shots on goal. They're on a minus 140 for Keller over 2.5, minus 200 for Schmaltz over 1.5. I mean, so pick and choose kind of on the prop market. But I'll probably have a couple Coyotes. I mean, they played hard yesterday. They came back and what could have been a dud 3-1, lose all the bets type thing. They make it back and 3-3 pushed to overtime. So, but this game is what it is, but not super important for the, for the playoff race, but definitely a good game to bet, and probably had the draw as well. So, definitely, interesting game to round out the card. And yeah, from the other side, you can't really go wrong sticking with CMD, 97, he's setting records, and it's just pricey. So how you want to get in? Minus 160 for him to score. Believe Cubano was telling me they're both going for 500 tonight, or there's something. Yeah, I have it up right here. I talked with him in a private chat, and 300 career goals. I think McDavid and Draisaitl might be sitting at 299 each. Could confirm that, but anyway, if you look at those types of trends, and that's about it.
Yeah, there's a good props here. I'm on Clayton Keller to score. It's obvious. It's not a great price, but you got to go with it. He's just flaming hot right now. Plus 140. You're right. You mentioned Schmaltz, point assist prop. Michelli, same thing, is worth a look. Krause is worth a look on the Arizona side. I'll throw an undervalued one at you. The defenseman for Arizona, he's on the number 1 power play unit now, getting more minutes, up the pairings a little bit for Andre Tourigny. Juuso Valimaki, former Calgary Flame, is shooting the puck a lot too. His overshots is only 1.5. He could probably get over that number. And I think he can get a point at plus 140. It's a great price as point prop, especially if he's going to be on the number 1 power play. In fact, his power play point prop might be even better of a look, because he's going to play number 1 power play tonight for the Arizona Coyotes. Plus 550. Sprinkle something on that. Juuso Valimaki to get a power play point prop. Plus 550. And he's on the number 1 power play unit. So, yeah, absolutely, it is a good situation. The key thing with the draws, Kofi here in Owusu in our chat mentions the draw is only worth it if you're willing to risk wagering a large sum of money. The key with the draw for me is that I cashed a plus 400, and man, does it boost a bankroll when that happens yesterday with Colorado and Arizona. That doesn't mean that I go double on the draw tonight with Edmonton and Arizona. No, we keep the same amount. We keep it the same amount. So if I win the draw yesterday and then I bet the draw here tonight, Edmonton, Arizona, but let's say it doesn't win, it's still profit, because you're not betting more than the bet you made yesterday. Both of them are plus money. You're still going to have some profit to show for it. So it's very important that don't start, I'm rolling in the green here with the draws. We can amp up our units here. We can go a quarter, half a unit more, full unit more. No. Don't start thinking that. This is still selective. This is still, a bit of a risky proposition, because it takes a lot for a game to go to overtime. But if you keep the unit size and you keep the amount the same with every draw bet, or at least very close to the same, and you don't increase it, exponentially, then you're going to see it build over the course of time. The profits with the draw, if you're going about it the right way.
Yeah, and if you're looking at streaks, if anything, I would probably look to downgrade. Like right now, if you were to have bet Edmonton the last 3 games to go OT, and let's say you started at a half unit, I would have recommended that you go down to a quarter unit and then just stay at a quarter unit going forward. Or if you're betting a full unit, then go drop down to a half unit. If you like a back-to-back draw, that's not a bad look to have. I like this one personally enough to where I'm betting a full unit, just like I did yesterday. But I would not talk anyone out of, if you're looking for this, you bet Arizona yesterday at half unit, or play them in a quarter unit, and then if this hits, keep playing that draw in a quarter unit, and you still, like I said, even with a quarter unit, you can go 3 in a row, lose, and you're still making profit if you've hit 1 or 2 in a row. So.
Yeah, no doubt. I love it's sarcasm, but I like it. What Grinch is saying in the chat. Oh wait, I thought you're supposed to sell your house and put it on the draw. There you go. Yeah, that would not be wise.
No.
Yeah, that would not be wise. Yeah, you'll be without a roof over your head in a lickety split. Yeah, essentially, no question. Great stuff. Great card occupancy. Great job. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for requesting to be on the show, and that's what made it happen. So great to have you with us. We got another guest joining us tomorrow. Straight Bet Ben is going to be back on the show tomorrow, and it's good because Alex won't be on the daytime show tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. But he will be up with us for the BetCast again tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us for that. And again, send a DM at Bobano on Twitter or email bobano350@gmail.com to join us for that. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, daily Ice Guys show, betting card, bonus content, and more. Make sure you sign up and subscribe. It's just $10 a month. Patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also, we got the wonderful email yesterday about 20% off. It's back for another week at the Ice Guys store. Like I said, we don't get to set our coupon prices and codes. The website kind of takes care of that for us. So 7 days right now, 20% off everything. We've got the draw season shirt and sticker in store right now. We also have a mug available as well. So check that out amongst all the other caps and hoodies and shirts and bandanas and all kinds of things we have. iceguys.myspreadshop.com. 20% off everything for the next 7 days.
If you really want to get gutsy, though, and I like those two draws, Robert. I'll say that. Wild Kraken and Oilers Yotes over 25-1 for the two of them combined. I mean, just a couple bucks, nothing crazy, but man, that hits. Wow.
Turn a can of beer into a bottle of Dom Perignon.
There you go. That's essentially what you can do if we get overtime in both of those venues tonight, Mini and the Desert in Arizona, no question. All right, great stuff. All right, we'll be back with Best Bets coming right up right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS. That's promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, it's about 14 million balls that you can preserve. The Performance Package 4.0 is the complete accessory package to take care of everything that is required. You've got, of course, the Lawnmower 4.0. Takes care of your facial hair and among other things. You've got, of course, the Weed Whacker. I'm approaching 40. Nose hair has become a major issue. It pisses the hell out of me. I need to take care of that shit, and the Weed Whacker can help you do that. Both of these products, waterproof and a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And you'll also be able to take care of those delicate areas with the ball toner, with the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good, looking good, and feeling good down in the nether regions. This complete Performance Package 4.0 will take care of everything for you, for all you guys out there, and it's courtesy of our good friends at manscaped.com. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use promo code ICEGUYS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, we are back and ready for Best Bets on this Monday edition of the Ice Guys Show. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for Best Bet?
Yeah, we're going to go with that. Man, it's so tough choosing between these two draw plays, but we're going to go with the Oilers and the Coyotes. We're going to go plus 430 on the draw. Coyotes, 5 of the last 9 games have gone past regulation. Edmonton, 3 straight, including one against Arizona. They have not been able to put away these bad teams. They've been making everything close for themselves. And Arizona's been a feisty home team all season long. So give me Edmonton, Arizona draw in regulation. Plus 430 is my best bet for this Monday.
All right, I like it. Edmonton, Arizona draw plus 430. I'm seeing some people are saying FanDuel's got plus 480, and that's bad by me. Usually I'm a good line shopper. Oh, I missed that, and I'm not happy about it. I'm line shopping is usually I'm the king of that, and I missed out on a better price apparently. So, but anyway, upwards of plus 480 apparently in some spots with the draw with Edmonton and Arizona, and it makes sense. I mean, again, the Oilers have had close games, overtime games in 3 straight. Arizona, Edmonton went past regulation last week in Edmonton. Oh, and Jack Campbell in net. So good luck getting a margin of victory with Jack in net. And another thing, too, they got Vegas tomorrow night. So one eye look ahead to that game in Vegas tomorrow night, a team that beat them Saturday night in Edmonton. So definitely it's got all the – doesn't mean it's going to hit, but, man, it's got all the ingredients of a draw. A great bet here for Oilers Coyotes draw tonight in this game. All right, occupancy. What do you got for best bet?
Yeah, best bet. I'm going to look at the prop market and the game money line market as well. I'm going to go with Brandon Montour over an assist at -110. He's hit at 7-11 in March in a game where we could see goals. Both teams need to get the puck behind. There's a lot of weapons around him, and he's a puck-moving defenseman, which is rare in the league. So we'll go with the Brandon Montour assist -110, and the New York Islanders on the money line +110 for my best bet.
There you go. All right, I like it. Brandon Montour to get an assist, player prop best bet, and the Islanders to get the job done against the Devils +110. Islanders against the Devils. A couple of best bets there for occupancy. My best bet for this Monday slate, I'm going to roll with in this one that Colorado Anaheim over 6.5 -125. I was just waiting for the double J confirmation. Jonas Johansson for Colorado. We've got it. Anaheim played nothing but up and down track meet, non-defensive hockey the other night against St. Louis. And I think we can get a few goals out of Anaheim against Johansson. We saw Colorado give up 3 to Arizona yesterday. Colorado should definitely find the back of the net themselves against this Coyotes team, which just gave up 6 to St. Louis on Saturday night. That's not good. But goals I think are on the menu in the pond tonight. Colorado, Anaheim. Over 6.5, -125 for my best bet. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks again to our special guest Occupancy. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Occupancy and Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we're back with a daily double of the Ice Guys tomorrow. Daily show, 2 p.m. Eastern. Straight Bet Ben joining me. And then we're back with the Ice Guys Betcast, 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Join us for both on the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now.